Buying a zero turn is an investment, and I would be willing to guess you want your investment to last 15 to 20 years rather than 1 to 2. So today, let's talk about 3 different levels of zero turn mowers, how many hours you can expect at each level, and what you can do to ensure longevity out of your machine. So today, I've got 3 levels of Toro zero turn mowers. We've got a Time Cutter series for entry-level residential, a Titan series for mid-level, and a Z Master for commercial level. Now, what I'll be talking about is supposed to be more so just the overarching expectations on zero turns in general, not just the Toro line. So even though I've got 3 of these Toro mowers here next to me, use this information as a general guideline for when buying zero turn mowers. So to start off at the Time Cutter Max, this is the entry-level mower for Toro. You can find these at dealerships like us. You can find these at box stores as well. So whenever you're going into an entry-level residential mower, the hope and the expectation is that you get lots and lots of years out of your mower. What can that look like? Commonly, these mowers can last you about 500 to 1,000 hours, okay? That might be about 10 to 15 years, potentially 20 years, depending on a few factors. So right off the bat, if you are buying an entry-level residential, right around that 500 to 1,000 hour mark is kind of what to expect. When you step up to a Titan, everything gets a little bit bigger. Framework, transmissions, engine options, all of those get a little bit bigger, right? So this is something that maybe is more so around the realm of 1,000 to 1,500 hours, right? Again, you get a little bit bigger, a little bit more of a machine overall, so you should be able to expect a little bit more longevity. And then finally, a Z Master here in the Toro line or any commercially graded machine. This is where you can see lots and lots of hours, right? It is not uncommon to see a commercially graded mower last 2, 3, maybe 4,000 hours, okay? So how do we get these numbers for each machine? And how do we know what you can expect? How can we say, well, hey, listen, I want that 15 to 20 year mark on my residential mower. How do I ensure that? Well, I do think it breaks down into 3 factors. Number 1 is maintenance, number 2 is usage, and number 3 is quality. I think those are 3 massively important factors when buying a zero turn mower that can really influence just how long your mower will last. So like I mentioned, as you go up in series, the biggest things that change are overall quality, so overall structure, right? Maybe it's the gauge steel on the cutting deck, maybe it's the durability of the frame itself. Transmissions is another thing that goes up in size, from sealed entry-level transmissions to serviceable transmissions to the highest of quality transmissions in commercial, right? And when I say maintenance, what does that mean? Well, each mower class, regardless of what brand you buy, has a specific maintenance schedule, right? Virtually all mower brands are gonna say right around that 8 to 10 hour mark, you have your break-in oil change. That's changing the oil in the machine and changing the oil filter, right? So your maintenance starts at about 8 hours. From there, every brand's a little bit different, right? Toro recommends about every 100 hours or yearly is when you want to start checking your engine oil, you want to start checking your air filter, and do maintenance, things like that, right? So if you were to imagine this as your vehicle, if you went about 2,000 miles over your expected oil change number, you're probably not going to expect a lot of longevity out of your vehicle. Same thing goes for a zero turn, right? You want to make sure you're keeping up with your maintenance. So maybe you're someone who likes to work on your own things and you know you'll never have a problem with maintenance. Or maybe you're not very handy at all and you know that you're going to need to schedule maintenance with your dealer or your local service technician. Staying on top of your maintenance is absolutely crucial. That can be the difference between a zero turn lasting 2 years and lasting 20 years. And even at this entry-level Time Cutter series, you can expect a lot of years out of it. If you think about it, a lot of people who are buying these Time Cutters maybe have about a ½ acre up to 2 acres. If that's you on your mower maybe once a week cutting the grass for 1 to 2 hours, you'll probably only put on about 40 to 50 hours in a season, right? And when we say 1,000 hours, if you're putting on 50 hours in a season, you can expect a lot of years out of that if you think about the longevity, okay? But if you're doing that and not keeping up with maintenance, you're not gonna be able to see that last up to that 10 to 15 year mark. You're gonna see it a lot shorter. Same goes for your Titan and your Z Master. So how would you know when to step up, right? I think that's what brings up the question of usage. How do you know when to step up into another unit? So when I say usage, I'm mainly thinking about, are you a commercial landscaper? Are you someone with a lot of acres, with a bumpy yard, an unforgiving yard? Those are the factors for how you'll be using the mower to determine which one is right for you. On the Titan, maybe if you've got about a 2 to 5 acre range, that's where you can start seeing the Titan come into play. If If you've got 5 acres and you want to settle on the time cutter because you're attracted to a price point which is typically under 4 grand, that's fine, but I can tell you the more you stretch a machine for something that maybe it's not graded for use, that's when you can see some more issues arise. So for usage, ask yourself, would I rather step up and pay a little bit more initially to get the longevity? Would I rather save a buck now, get something a little bit smaller that's maybe pushing it to its limits and start to see issues arising earlier than I expected because the machine I bought's not graded for what I'm using it for? So that's another question to ask yourself with usage is, do I have a lot of acreage? And do I have a machine that can match that acreage, or am I stretching a little bit with the machine I have? And then lastly is the question of quality. Are you buying a quality machine? I'll tell you this, we sell Bad Boy and Toro here, so we're fans of those brands. Virtually every zero-turn brand builds a quality machine. Once you get to commercial, commercial is where you really see quality come out because these brands are building these zero turns to last, right? And again, when I say last, I'm thinking about 3,000, maybe 4,000 hours these machines can last. Now, if you're a commercial landscaper, those 3,000 to 4,000 hours might come in 3 to 4 years, right? If you're doing a lot of work. So can this machine last 10 to 15 years, potentially 20? Absolutely. But if you're using this daily for commercial use, it might not be realistic at all to expect that sort of timeline out of your machine. If you are a homeowner with tons of acreage, maybe if you're putting like 100 to 150 hours on this machine in a year, you're still gonna see it last 15 to 20 years. And all that comes out when you buy a commercial zero turn because of the quality. The transmissions are now fully serviceable. The engine options are larger with more horsepower on it. Accessibility is usually greater on the commercial side for you to work on your machines, right? And then overall, just the quality of the structure, right? The frame looks a lot better. The steel is usually thicker on the cutting deck itself. You have bigger, more aggressive rear tires. Everything is built on these commercial machines to last a long time, okay? So again, I think quality is a huge factor for the longevity of your zero-turn mower, and I think it can be the difference between seeing something last 5 to 10 years versus 15 to 20 once you get up to commercial mowers. Now, obviously, you can still get quality machines in entry-level residential and mid-level residential as well, but the quality really comes out in the commercial side. So again, I highly encourage you to consider those 3 factors I brought up. Maintenance, what sort of maintenance are you going to be doing on your machine? Can you keep up with regular maintenance? What is your usage for the machine? What are you using it for? How many acres? How big of a property? Is it easy or is it rough? And then lastly, quality. Do your own research on your zero-turn mower, call your local dealers, pick their brains about the machine to really understand the quality and the craftsmanship that go into each mower. And I think if you consider those 3 things, you can make a very wise purchase, make a very wise investment, one that will last you 15 to 20 years versus maybe 1 to 5. Now, I do not claim to be any sort of service expert, right? But I know a lot of you who watch have tons more experience than I have and have had a lot of success with your zero-turn mowers over the years. So why don't you let the community know in the comments, what have you done? What works to get the most out of your zero-turn mower? Maybe it's maintenance tips, maybe it's specific brand tips. Experiences you've had are crucial to helping the community understand and be able to make a wise decision. So feel free to get active in the comments. Let us and let the community know what you've done to get the most out of your zero-turn mowers. As always, we appreciate you watching the channel. Thank you for supporting. We love bringing you videos like this. And until the next one, we'll see you later.